Have you felt that buzz around AI agents and wondered if they're really about to change everything in software development? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on Google's new AI coding environment. This is a tool that can literally take you from a simple idea to a fully working app in just a few minutes, all while the AI does the really heavy lifting. To really get what a huge deal this is, just think about how things used to be. Yesterday you'd be staring at that blinking cursor on a blank screen just trying to remember how to even start. Today, you're describing what you want, grabbing a coffee, and watching the AI just build it for you. This isn't a small step. It's a fundamental change in how we create things. So the big question is, how is this even possible? Is this just some fancy autocomplete or a tool that's good at copying and pasting code from the internet? Nope, not even close. What we're talking about here is something called Agentic IDE. That stands for Generative Interactive Development Environment. You gotta forget about simple chatbots that just give you suggestions. This thing is an active agent. It can actually plan out a whole project, create the files it needs, run commands in the terminal, and this is the really wild part. It can even open up a browser and test its own code to see if it works. And that brings us to maybe the most important shift here. It's about your role. You're not so much the hands-on coder anymore. You're more like the project manager. You come up with the vision, and the AI handles the nitty-gritty execution. Okay, but that probably brings up a pretty big concern, right? An AI that can write its own code. How do you stop it from just running wild and completely messing up your project? You've got to have some controls in place. And you do. The system puts you firmly in control with two really critical settings. First, you set auto execution to request review. That means the AI has to ask you for permission before it runs any commands. And second, and this is the big one, you set the review policy to request review. That forces the AI to get your personal sign-off before it saves any changes to your files. So yeah, you are always in the driver's seat. There's a perfect analogy for this. The AI is basically your junior developer. It's super smart, it's incredibly fast, but at the end of the day, it has to submit its work to you, the manager, for approval before anything becomes final. That simple idea is the absolute key to working with these agents safely and effectively. All right, so we've got the safety settings figured out. Now let's get to the really fun part, watching this thing build a real project from scratch. We're going to create a classic productivity app, a Pomodoro Timer, and we're going to start with nothing more than a single sentence. So this is the exact prompt we give the AI. Just look at it. It's plain English. We're just describing what we want. A 25-minute timer, some buttons, a little sound. We even tell it what tech to use. But notice what's missing? We're not writing a single line of code ourselves. Now, here's what's so cool. The AI doesn't just start throwing code at the wall. The very first thing it does is create a plan, just like a good human developer would. It breaks down the request into logical steps, create the HTML file for the page structure, the CSS for the styling, and the JavaScript for all the timer logic. It actually thinks before it acts. And once you look at that plan and say, yep, looks good, that's when the real magic starts to happen. The agent just switches from planning mode to execution mode, and it's off to the races, creating files and writing code to make it all real. And then you see this moment that just feels like something out of science fiction. The AI agent literally takes control of your browser. It opens the app, it clicks the buttons, it runs tests, all to make sure that what it just built actually works. It's not just a coder, it's your own personal quality assurance engineer. So building version 1 is mind-blowing. But what about making changes? What about improving it? Well, this is where the conversational part of the AI just really shines. You can evolve your app just by talking to it. So what if we want to add some new features? Simple. We just type another sentence, again in plain English. We ask for a sound effect. We ask for a way for users to input their own custom time. We're describing what we want, not getting bogged down in how to code it. So the agent takes that feedback, it updates its little plan, it goes in and modifies the code it already wrote, and then it runs all the tests again. And get this, if it finds an error while it's testing, it'll actually try to fix it on its own before it bothers you. It's this complete closed-loop development cycle. Now, just a quick real-world heads up here. This is brand spanking new technology, right? So sometimes it gets a little confused. If you see that automated browser test just kind of hanging there, don't panic. You can just cancel the action and give it another try. It's a tiny little bump in the road for getting to play with the future. Okay, so we've got a working app. It does everything we want. It's running perfectly on our computer. But how do we actually get it out there and share it with the world? Well, the last step is taking it live on the web. A really great way to think about this part is the recipe versus the cake. The system can give you a full transcript of everything you and the AI did. That's the recipe for how the app was made. But what you actually want to put on the internet is the finished cake, right? And that's the actual HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files sitting on your computer. And getting that cake online is almost ridiculously easy. Seriously, you just find that project folder on your computer, you drag the whole thing over into a hosting service, and that's it. Your site is live. In seconds, you have a link you can send to anyone in the world. So let's just stop and think about that for a second. We went from a single sentence to a fully functional, totally custom app that's been tested and deployed live on the web, and it all happened in just a few minutes. I mean, that workflow is nothing short of a revolution. So here's the bottom line. The role of the developer is going through this massive, massive change. It's becoming less about the tedious work of typing out perfect syntax and way more about high-level thinking, creative direction, and, well, managing a very, very powerful AI assistant. And that really leaves us with this incredible question for the future, doesn't it? When the AI takes over all the routine, foundational coding that takes up so much of our time and energy today, what happens then? It frees up all of our human creativity to tackle bigger, weirder, more imaginative problems. So, what will we create next?